Hello and welcome. You have tuned into Market Fatafat on ET Now. I'm Shrishti Sharma and with me is Ankita Saxena. And viewers, this is the show where in the next 1 hour we're going to be highlighting all the buzzers in trade right now. We'll also connect with our researcher for the day as well as connect with our technical expert as well and try to find out which stocks are they tracking on that front. But before that, let's track the market action as well. So what we are seeing, Ankita, is not much of an action on the index level. They are seen to be consolidating a bit. Yeah. The breadth of the market is a bit even, Steven, but it's the metal pack that is shining bright.
Absolutely, Samrita, Shrishti. It is a day of consolidation after hitting those life highs. We are consolidating a bit, and also on the Nifty right now, consolidation is what we see. It is consolidating around the 25,900 levels. Nifty Bank is also trading rather flat for now. But it is up 130 odd points from the day's lowest point. Sectorally, like Shrishti mentioned, metals is shining away in trade. In fact, names like Nalco, NMDC, SAIL, they're all leading the metal packs. They're all up over 1.5% to gaining with the trades of 2.5% right now. And that's on the back of China's central bank, of course, announcing a sweep of support for the economy. And China has a big role to play as far as metals are concerned. But on the losing side, we have Nifty, FMCG, the IT pack, Realty that are trading in the red with some bit of a selling pressure coming in there. In fact, FMCG, we have HUL, Ultratech, there is HUL that's one of the top Nifty losers that's losing in trade. Nestle also is on the losing side. Then apart from that, the other losers are Ultratech, Grasim, SBI Life, LTI Mindtree, Kotak Bank that are on the losing side. But holding on to strong gains is Tata Steel from the metal pack, of course, which is the top gainer in Nifty as well, and pulling up the index with gains of almost 4.5%. So that's where largely the markets are at. A day of consolidation coming in, not much action on the market front, Shrishti.
All right, then, that's about how the markets are panning out right now. But with this, let's move on, viewers, and let's also connect with our expert for today. We are being joined by Osho Krishan on the technical front, as well as Ria is joining us to help us understand what sort of movement that we are having on different counters when it comes to the news flow. But with this, viewers, let's get started and let's start highlighting all the buzzers in trade right now. And let me start with the first counter, that is Firstsource Solutions, because this stock is indeed in focus after the company acquires Acnosauce for 42 million pounds, that is 472 crores in Indian rupees. Now, this company is a leading consumer experience outsourcing partner for retail and e-commerce business, with having their headquarters in UK. So on this positive news flow, what we are seeing is that the stock is holding on to the gains of 6% right now. But other than that, with this acquisition, if we see, then this is done at an EV by sales multiples of 0.7 times for their calendar year 23 basis, and this acquisition will add the retail vertical to the Firstsource existing domain in the BFSI, CMT, as well as healthcare and EU division. Now, this acquisition is expected to be marginally dilutive on an initial basis, but the margin profile is expected to improve gradually and help the numbers as well. On the back of this news flow, the stock is holding strong with the gains of 6%.
All right, that is Firstsource buzzing away in trade with gains of 6%. But another stock that is buzzing in trade is Power Grid. Now, shares of Power Grid rose after the company received a letter of intent LOI to establish an interstate transmission system. The company has been declared the successful bidder under a tariff-based competitive bidding process to set up a dynamic reactive compensation at the Khavda Pooling Station 1 and Khavda Pooling Station 3 on a build, own, operate and transfer basis. Now, this project will involve the installation of STATCOMs at both the polling stations, and that along with necessary bay extension work that is required in Gujarat. So on the back of this order win, they are trading with gains of over 2.5% right now.
All right, but the PSU pack has seen quite the run-up. But what's in store for this particular space? Let's listen into what Atul Suri of Marathon Trends, PMS, and Vineet Sambre, head equities at DSP Mutual Fund, and even Ravi Dharamshi of ValueQuest Investment had to say about the sector and the roadmap going ahead.
I think the defense PSUs are in a much stronger position, at least for the next 10 years, where they continue to be a monopoly in some of the products. And they are the lead system integrators. Usually the DRDO or the Ministry of Defense gives the order to them. So they will remain a nodal agency and then of course the entire ecosystem behind them will develop of sub-assembly and component guys, and that is where the private sector will emerge. But the lead system integrator will most likely remain with the PSU for at least 10 years. Then we'll have to evaluate after that.
The trend has not broken. I still feel that this bull market, which is a multi-year run, is going to be led by industrials. However, there is a need for the rest of the market to also catch up. And the world is moving towards a defensive scenario in terms of the Fed, in terms of all that, so much narratives that are coming. You can see even in the domestic market, you will find that three sectors that stand out is IT, second is pharma, and third is FMCG. And you'll find that these sectors have done well. These also sectors were actually underperformers for 2 years prior to that.
Amongst various PSUs, there are couple of them which does have dominating profile. They have decent ROCs, and I think overall over the last 2-3 years we have seen that the managements have become slightly more aware about they need to deliver efficient growth, capital efficient growth. We don't see letdown in terms of growth if the economy has to grow. And hence, at certain points in time, we sort of open to look at some of these names. But as of now, I think the momentum seems to be a bit slow because of the reasons I mentioned.
All right, moving on then, coming back to the stocks that are in focus. Osho, you picked out Adani Green for us. On the charts, tell us what are you seeing on the charts for this particular counter. In fact, the last 1 month it's seen some good, the counter has really picked up steam, and it's given 9%. It's picked up 9%. Tell us what is the upside on this one?
Very good afternoon to both of you, and thank you for having me at the show. Well, now coming to the technical perspective of Adani Green, then this counter have seen a very strong consolidation around the zone of 1700 on the lower end and 2000 on the higher end. But in the last month, as you have mentioned, the counter have started gaining traction, and that traction has been backed by decent volumes. So I'm expecting that from here onwards, once the counter is on the verge of giving a breakout around the zone of 2000, 2020 odd levels. So from here onwards, there can be a drastic up move that can be seen in the coming period. On the higher end, immediate target comes around the zone of 2350 to 2400, while on the lower end, 1950 to 1900 is supposed to provide some strong cushion to this counter. So I'm expecting a very strong movement in the coming period, short to medium term time frame, for higher target of nearly 2400.
All right, 2400 is what Osho is targeting for Adani Green. But moving on, one of the power stocks today that is buzzing, and that is Tata Power indeed. Ria, take us through what's happening here and why the run up.
Yes, well, so Tata Power is definitely one of the big buzzers in trade today after Motilal Oswal initiated a buy rating on the stock with a target price of rupees 530. Now, they have said that Tata Power is undergoing a multi-year structural shift in their business with a 45% of capex over FY23 to 27, which is going to be allocated to the renewable energy projects. Now, this is going to be instrumental in increasing the share of the core earnings from 40% to 90% over FY23 to 27, and at 13 times EV by EBITDA, they believe that there is scope for further re-rating given the lower earnings volatility and a strong 14% net profit CAGR in FY24 to 27. And since the management is aiming to double the profits by FY27, they say that execution will remain a key factor going forward. And reacting to this positive note, the stock is reacting positively, up almost 4% right now.
Clearly, the Tata Power in focus today, trading with gains of 4%. But sources tell ET now that the government is moving ahead with the market coupling of power exchanges and has asked the Grid Controller of India to complete the pilot study on time. My colleague Prakash Priyadarshi is joining us with this exclusive.
Yes, we are learning from our sources that the government is moving ahead with the market coupling proposal. Our sources in the Power Ministry are confirming that the government is committed to implementing market coupling of power exchanges. In fact, Power Ministry has instructed Grid Controller of India to complete pilot study on time. Grid Controller of India is conducting a pilot study under direction of CERC, and therefore now instructions have been given to the Grid Controller of India to complete the pilot study on time. We're given to understand that Grid Controller of India is expected to submit its report within a month, and then CERC CERC will take a final call on the date of the implementation. A very significant development coming in. Sources are also informing that the Power Ministry is planning to implement a new mechanism either by end of the current financial year or at the start of the financial year 2026. A very significant development coming in, as the market coupling will ensure uniform power price across power exchanges and help government to increase overall electricity trade on power exchanges.
All right, so that's on the power coupling, and clearly we can see that impact on the stock price of all these power counters. But moving on, let's also talk about Avenue Supermarts, and Osho, take us through what's happening here and how do you see the setup of this particular stock?
See, overall, the technical structure for DMart is obviously very positive. It has been in the cycle of higher highs, but the only positive development that is one needs to observe at present level, that it is on a verge of giving a fresh breakout on the daily time frame. No doubt the swing high was approximately 5900, but the closer has been approximately around the zone of 5400 only. So it has already provided a breakout on the weekly time frame, and even on the daily time chart it is on the verge of giving a fresh breakout. So once it concludes above the zone of 5400 on a closing basis, then we can see a decent upsurge movement towards the zone of 5900 in the coming period. So overall, the momentum still persists in this counter, and after breaching the zone of 5400, I am expecting a decent move towards 5900 odd levels from short to medium term time frame.
All right, with that, it's time for a quick breather, but don't go anywhere, because after the break, we're getting you more stocks that are in focus today.
Welcome back to Market Fatafat, and let's keep it going with all the buzzers in trade right now. And let's also talk about GMR Power, because this particular stock is in focus on the back of a brokerage note coming in from MK today, where they've gone ahead and initiated a buy on this particular stock with a target price of 180 rupees. What they are highlighting is that there is indeed healthy earnings visibility by strong growth generating assets to support the deleveraging efforts. Conscious shift to asset-light business models amid improving the balance sheet is the focus of the management, and they also have a focus on deleveraging on the back of strong cash flows. At this price point, MK believes that the stock is trading at an attractive valuation supported by ample optionalities, and hence we are seeing great move on that stock, which is holding and even locked at an upper circuit of 5%.
All right, moving on to another counter that is in focus today, and that is GR Infra. Now, GR Infra is in focus today because, the share surged as much as 6% in fact in the morning. It has given up all those gains, but it is nonetheless trading with gains of 2.2% right now. The uptick in the shares of the price of GR Infra came after the company announced that it has emerged as the lowest bidder for a project worth 900 crore rupees from Maharashtra Metro Rail Corporation Limited. Now, under the terms of the order, GR Infra projects will be responsible for the design and construction of elevated metro viaduct, double-decker portion of the vehicular underpass. Now, the project is expected to be completed within 30 months of the date of signing the agreement. And on the back of that, GR Infra is in focus today with gains of more than 2% right now.
All right, that's about GR Infra, but let's also talk about MGL. The stock has already seen a good move, and Osho, tell us, how are you looking at this stock on the technical front?
See, overall, this counter is already into a very positive stature. It is maintaining the cycle of higher highs, higher lows, and is hovering well above all its major short-term moving averages. But overall, in the recent period, when we have seen a bullish runaway gap in this counter around the zone of 1860, since then we are expecting that from here onwards there can be a strong upside movement that can be seen in this counter. So on the lower end, 1860 is a very strong support now, and on the higher end, I am expecting a target of nearly 2000 being a psychological mark can provide some resilience for the short-term traders. But once we breach the zone of 2000, then from there onwards, approximately 150 points of further rally can be seen in this count.
Well, moving on then, Ria, you picked out PNB for us, and this one's trading with cuts of almost 2% in trade. Tell us, what's the news flow?
PNB is definitely in focus today since they have closed a QIP of rupees 5,000 crores with a base deal size of 2,500 crores and the remaining 2,500 crores as a green shoe option. Now, this QIP has reportedly generated strong demand from domestic mutual funds, which has signaled substantial investor interest. But the indicative issue price has come in at rupees 103.75, which was a 7% discount to yesterday's closing, which is why the stock is reacting negatively, trading with cuts of more than 2% right now.
All right, that's about PNB, but let's also talk about another QIP candidate that has been on the recent while, and that is Samvardhana Motherson. And post the successful QIP fundraise, we have seen good move on this particular stock. Osho, help us with your take on SAMIL, that is Samvardhana Motherson, holding and sustaining above that 200 odd levels. Where do you see the stock headed?
See, overall on the technical front, this counter have seen a very drastic development. On the technical front, even it is witnessing a kind of flag and pennant pattern breakout, for which the target is very high, approximately 320, but that's being on a very optimistic side. On the realistic picture, the counter has seen a very strong movement in the recent period from the 50-day exponential moving average, and for which the immediate target comes around the zone of 230 to 235. So for short-term traders, 235 should be kept as the initial target, and once it surpasses the same, then on broader term time frame, one can definitely expect a higher target of in the medium term time frame.
Samvardhana Motherson on the charts, but also they have closed the QIP after raising 6,400 crore rupees from the investors on strong demand. And we also caught up with Kunal Milani, who's the CFO of Samvardhana Motherson, on the company's plan on how are they likely to use the QIP proceeds and more. Let's go across and take a look at what he had to say.
The amount will largely go towards debt repayment. There is some around 800 odd crores, which is for general corporate purpose, but that also will get utilized directly or indirectly towards reduction of debt. And hence at an aggregate level, the whole amount will actually reduce our net debt to somewhere around if I look at Q1 results, it will result in the 13,500 crores to come down to around about 6,000 crores. So overall, I think this number should look more like 0.6, 0.7 times net debt to EBITDA using Q1 numbers. Ours is a reactive strategy, right? We wait for the customers to highlight to us what's the set of opportunities that we should consider, whether organic or inorganic. So for them to even provide these opportunities to us, the fact is they would be looking at our balance sheet to assess how we are in comparison to some of the other maybe solution providers that also exist. Don't know who else they talk to, but this provides a good signal to them to be able to say, hey, these guys can look at ABC kind of opportunities.
All right, then moving on, let's talk about Aurobindo Pharma from the pharma space, because this stock is in focus as Nuvama has gone ahead and raised the target price on this counter after the recent management meet. Nuvama retained its buy rating with a target price of 1,730 rupees, which was earlier at 1,686 rupees now. A lot of factors that they are highlighting and finding positive panning out for the company. Firstly is their biologics business, where Aurobindo Pharma is looking to enter, and with the biologics CMO, the company will enter the CMO business and may provide opportunities in the future which could commercialize in the next 2 years. The another positive trigger could be the opportunities in the GLP-1 side, because this indeed is a large opportunity, and a lot of Indian players are actually looking out at how to benefit out of these opportunities in the next few years, and Aurobindo Pharma could be one of the first movers then. Along with that, they have new upcoming facilities coming out, wherein the Penicillin G project is underway. The new manufacturing facilities also seen to be coming out in the injectable units, and the company is also focusing on dual filings from their unit 3 as well as new Sterlite unit. So these are some of the key announcements. Nuvama does forecast 50 basis points of margin expansion over the next few years, and on the back of this news flow and this report, the stock is indeed in focus.
All right, that's Aurobindo Pharma in focus. But Osho, you have picked out Vedanta for us. Now, this counter has done pretty well in the last 6 months, but in the last few weeks, I see a bit of a consolidation in the charts. Tell us, what are you seeing for this counter?
See, overall, as you have mentioned, that this counter has seen some strong consolidation in the recent weeks. But looking at the technical, looking at the daily and weekly time frame, this counter is emerging above the consolidation zone. So I'm expecting with today's closer above the zone or around the zone of 470, this will give a confirmation of consolidation breakout. And from here onwards, we can definitely expect a target of nearly 485 to 490 on the short-term perspective, and even further on a broader time frame, 500 kind of a target can also be seen in this counter. So overall, the trend for this VEDL is very positive, and I am expecting that from here onwards, it will be moving in the cycle of higher highs, higher lows.
All right, that's the take coming in on Vedanta. What a move in metals today. But with this, viewers, it's time to slip into a very short break in this edition of Market Fatafat. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.